in your favor. I thought of today of how I was going to present the scriptures to you and then also the book reading. I'm working with what I got, music not provided by me, but I do like the music. Conversation not provided by me as well in the background, but we're going to get through this book. So each day at the beginning of the live, I will do a scripture before and a scripture after. The I have vibration. For to everyone who has and values his blessing and gifts from God and has used them wisely, more will be given. And he will be richly supplied so that he will have an abundance. But from the one who does not have, because he has ignored or disregarded his blessings and gifts from God, even what he does have will be taken away. That is the Amplified Bible. It was also a part of Valerie Love's 40 Money Scriptures. That word is Matthew 25:29. We are now going to start on the book, The Science of Money. Increase Your Income and Become Wealthy by Brian Tracy with Dan Strutzel. This is the table of contents. Table of contents, chapter 1. We won't be doing any forward or introduction. Buy the book for that. What is money? I got my new shirt on today, y'all. What y'all think? All right. In any scientific discipline, we need to define terms in order to be certain that we agree about the topic we are studying and about the ground rules for testing any theory about it. In this session, Brian will help to define the terms surrounding money. Some of his responses may surprise you. Dan, Brian, let's begin by describing what we mean by the science of money and how money has been studied. Let's see how this study has produced many solid and reliable laws about how money can be earned or created, and how this flies in the face of many of the mystical and or spectacular theories out there. Brian, if you want to get right down to the nitty gritty, you start with the first law, which is called the law of exchange. It says that money is the medium through which people exchange their goods and services. They exchange their labor and the production of goods and services for the goods and services of others. Money is a medium of exchange for labor. Before there was money, there was barter. This goes right back to 100,000 years ago, where someone would make a flint spearhead or a pot and exchange it for a carpet or a skin. In barter, people exchanged goods and services directly for goods and services without the medium of money. Then civilization grew and barter became too clumsy. This, people found that they could exchange their goods and services for a medium like gold, silver, coins, seashells, wampum in early America, something that was scarce and valuable. People would have a coin or something of value which they could then exchange for a chicken or a goat or something else. It makes the whole process more efficient. That was the beginning of money. And it still defines what money is today. Even though many people are very confused about it, it makes the whole process of exchange more efficient. Today we go to work and we exchange our work for money, which we then use to purchase the products of the work of other people. Basically, money is the medium through which we exchange our work for the work of others. The first corollary of this law of exchange is that money is a measure of the value that people place on goods and services. It's only what a person will pay that determines the value of something. Things do not have value in and of themselves. The value of a thing is only what somebody is willing to pay for it. You can't say that your product or service is worth a given amount unless somebody else validates it by actually offering you that amount of money. Goods and services have no value apart from what someone is willing to pay for them, as all value is therefore subjective. This is the basis of that for the Austrian school, which is the best and most insightful school of economics in human history. It's based on the thoughts, feelings, attitudes, and opinions of the prospective purchaser at the moment of the buying decision. The second corollary of this law of exchange says that your labor is viewed as a factor of production that is as a cost by others. This demolishes almost all of the economic arguments about whether people should be paid $15 an hour or something else. One name for human beings is Homo economicus. This means that we always act economically. We always try to get the very most for the very least. That's why some of y'all think adult entertainment is free. This explains it right here. Or that anything else is free that creators are creating that you get to listen to that you didn't pay for. So thank you, Brian Tracy. Um, continue on. Okay. This is genetic. It is built into our DNA. It has never been otherwise in all of human history. We never will pay more if we can possibly pay less. Ooh. Mm. Each of us has a tendency to look upon the sweat of our brow as something special because it's so intensely personal. It comes from us. It's an expression of who we are as persons. It comes from us. It's an expression, it's very emotional. As a matter of fact, because it's our life, but as far as others are concerned, our labor is just a cost. As intelligent consumers or as an employer or customers, we want the very most for the very least, no matter whose labor is involved. This is why people manufacture in China or Taiwan or Vietnam or Indonesia, because the customer in America does not care where the product comes from. I believe the new markets out right now that people are primarily buying from. Um, at my former job, they were buying from Timu. I have never ordered anything from Timu. Um, Although I have been gifted an item from my former boss from Timu. One of the employment agencies I went to, um, they were having someone, I guess people from Sheen, Shein, uh, they have a warehouse here in Indiana um, where they use employers at. It was kind of far from Indianapolis. Paid decent, but I've never ordered anything from Sheen either. I don't plan on it. Um, but people seem to like their products a lot, but those products are made out the country. So yes, okay. And they say it's okay as far as cost, but you have to be careful with the materials as far as quality, is what I have been told. Okay, all right. The customer simply cares about getting the very lowest price. People talk about offshoring and sending jobs overseas and so on. It's not the companies, it's the customers that are demanding that they send these jobs there because the products and services can be produced at a lower cost. Almost all of Apple's products are made in China. Why? It's because the cost to manufacture them in a more developed country is 3 or 4 times that amount it costs in China. So the customers in developed countries will not pay that amount. They demand indirectly that companies offshore these jobs so they can have the very most for the very least. I don't have an Apple phone, but I do sell Apple iPhone products. Um, that latest iPhone, I believe it's the iPhone 15. That's like an $800 phone, and they done made it for cheap overseas. Is what they just told me in this book. Okay. So the customers in developed countries will not pay that amount. They demand indirectly that companies offshore these jobs so they can have the very most for the very least. For this reason, you can't place an objective value on your own labor, protesting and demanding increases and so on. It's only what other people are willing to pay you for your labor in a competitive market that determines what you earn and what you are worth on financial terms. We'll talk later about the 99% versus the 1% and so on. Ooh, this is gonna be a good book. The third is he a bestseller? He's not, but he came highly recommended, which is why this book is in my hand. All right. The third corollary of this law says the amount of money you earn is a measure of the value that others place on your contribution. In other words, it's the customers in the marketplace who determine what you're worth. It's the customers of the companies that we work for who determine what they will pay for the products and services we contribute to the production. That is what determines how much we will be paid. There's no objective amount that we can be paid. How much you are paid will be in direct proportion to the quantity and quality of your contribution in comparison with the contributions of others combined with the value that other people place on your contributions. I'm just gonna let that soak in a minute. All right. Value. All right. One thing I used to say is that you are competing every single day with every other person in your company. People would get really huffy about that. They'd say, we don't compete, we all work together as team members. No, baby, this is life. Life is survival. Mm-mm. No, 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 no. Yeah, it's a competition. Absolutely. The fact is that the person who determines your paycheck determines how much you will be paid in comparison with how much other people are paid. That's why most companies have a rule that you're not allowed to discuss your pay with other people because your pay is determined by what the company thinks you are worth relative to everyone else working around you. The fourth corollary of the law of exchange is that is an effect, not a cause. Your work or contribution to the value of a product or service is the cause, and the wage, salary, or earnings that you receive are the effect. If you wish to increase the effort, you have to increase the cost. Just as Arthur Earl Nightingale said years ago, the law of cause and effect is the foundational law of all human life, all of science, all technology, all mathematics, all money. How you doing, darling? That sounds like numerology to me on different levels. The fifth corollary of the law of exchange is that to increase the amount of money you are getting out, you must increase the value of the work that you are putting in. This is a phenomenal thing. People think that they can get more out without putting more in. They think this all over the world. You say, well, where's the money going to come from? Their answer is somewhere. If you press them on that, they say, well, the money should come from other people who are creating more value, who therefore are earning more. Then they should give it to me, even though according to the market, I'm creating less value so that I don't feel bad. This kind of subjective attitude that I'm entitled to more money is absolute nonsense.
They said he walked out with April. Thank you.
I'll repeat it. Then they should give it to me, even though according to the market I'm creating less value so that I don't feel bad. This kind of subjective attitude that I'm entitled to more money is absolute nonsense. That's why it leads to riots and strikes and everything else. Okay, he just covered the writer's strike. We only in chapter one. My gosh, he covered the writer's strike. He covered the struggling actresses in Hollywood. He didn't. That is why it leads to riots and strikes and everything else. Okay. We say to earn more money, you must add more value. If you look at business, the secret to wealth creation, which we'll talk about later, is to add value. Sometimes I ask people how many of them work on straight commission. I'll ask 1,000 people, and about 10% or 15% of people will raise their hands. The truth of the matter is, everybody works on straight commission. What does that mean? It means everybody gets a percentage of the value that they create. If you're not happy with the percentage that you're getting, create more value. Become worth more so that your boss or customers will willingly pay you more money because they value your contribution so much. So people can earn $10 an hour. Some people can earn 1,000 an hour. I have a friend who upgraded his skills from being a commercial lawyer to being a lawyer in intellectual copyright, a field nobody was in. I bet. It was a white space. Companies like Sony and Disney and the biggest companies in the world eagerly pay him 1,000 an hour to help them with intellectual property law because the amounts involved are hundreds of millions of dollars. And he's an expert. He made himself so valuable that they get in line to pay him whatever he wants. He is often paid 2 million or 3 million to vet a single contract or merger between companies that have intellectual property, such as movie companies. There's somebody on my page works for Disney. Um, he does the. He's one of the camera people. I just recently became friends with him, and I sent the link to my email so I would remember to go back and view later. But he said somebody was trying to talk him down in one of the posts on his page about for the amount that he charges to do films. And he was charging, I want to say, he was like 3,000 to 5,000. And so when the man tried to talk him down to like 500, he said, I tell you what, he said, take time out of your day, and for 500, I will teach you what you need to know in regards to how to film. When he started talking to the person about um, what he would need and all the equipment involved and things of that nature, the man said, my time is valuable and paid the man what he requested at first to do the filming for him. He did not understand the value of who he was with, the experience, the knowledge, and he was not educated. So by the time the cameraman was done with him, he was thoroughly educated, and the cameraman still got paid. All right.
Because I mean, at this point, Miss Angel, you're already ready to be screaming. I'm not rushing.
Oh.
I didn't know. Well, because it doesn't matter.
No, I'm waiting on my ride.
Oh, you good? You're not ready? Oh, you're not gonna leave today?
Cause no, I'm not. All right, baby. Thank you, love. I appreciate it. Okay. To earn more money, you must, oh, excuse me, y'all. To earn more money, you must add more value, so you must increase your knowledge. As a management expert, Peter Drucker said, we are all knowledge workers. So, by increasing your amount of knowledge about how to do your business better, you increase your value, and people will be willing and eager to thrust money into your hand. Or you increase your skill level so that you can get more and better work done in the same period of time, or you improve your work habits so that you're far more productive. The highest paid people in every society and every business are always described as being very result oriented. They are highly productive. I have worked with people and just taught them time management skills, and they've tripled their income in less than a year doing the same job for the same company. The company willingly gives them more money because they're producing vastly more value. Everybody works on straight commission, or you can work longer and harder hours. The most successful people always work much harder than others. In fact, statistics say that 59 to 60 hours a week puts you in the top 20%. 59 to 60 hours a week. Woo. If you work, that used to be me. I used to work about 60 hours a week, plus the bed and breakfast, plus the lodging. If you work 70 hours a week, you'll be in the top 5% or 10%. The average person today works a 40-hour week. But according to labor studies, during that week, he or she only works 32 hours. Why? It's because they took coffee breaks and lunches and start earlier and stop later. In those 32 hours, they waste 50% of that time, mostly with idle chit chat, Facebook, social media, internet, phoning friends, and so on. So the average person is only doing 16 hours of productive work each week, and in that time, they do work of low value. I'll be right back. I'm going to grab a pen. I need to mark this. Thank you for your patience. I'm back. This is why I like physical books. I ain't got no problem against ebooks. I got some ebooks out there. But this is why I like physical books. Okay. How many of y'all highlight when y'all read? If y'all read physical books? I'm just wondering. Okay. Idle chit chat, Facebook, social media, internet, phone friends, and so on. 16 hours of productive work each week. Interesting. The one secret to success is to work all the time you work. Start earlier. The witching hour starts at 3 a.m. Work harder, stay later, and work the whole darn time. Don't mess around. Don't chat with your friends. Don't go out for lunch or coffee or read the paper or surf the internet. When I finish my live of this first reading chapter, I got books to turn into JL King, so I'll be working on that next few days. I won't be chit chatting. Matter of fact, I changed my number. If you find me on Facebook, and I ain't there too often, and that's to post up for the Amazon page or something else. We don't hardly do no chit chatting. Chit chat days, chit chat's over. Chit chat, yeah. Okay, I just touch base and keep running. All right. By the way, all wealthy people work 6 days a week. This comes in study after study after study. It's not hard to work 6 days a week. You're doing work that you really enjoy and you're doing it really well and you're getting great results, you pumped up. It makes you happy. In fact, successful people have to use self-discipline to not work because they like their work so much. One of your great responsibilities we will talk about later is for you to find work that you enjoy so much that it gives you energy and you have to force yourself to stop. I like dancing, singing, writing. Yeah. For people who are doing the right work, time stands still. They forget to eat. That is so true. They forget to take breaks. They forget to go for coffee. They're so engrossed in their work that they have to be torn away to eat or do something else. That is me when I'm in creative mode. I'm going to put a little heart there. The highest paid people in our society are those who are continually improving in these areas to add greater value to the work that they're doing. This is the truth. The amount you earn is a direct reflection of the value that you create to improve the life and work of other people. All success in life comes from serving other people in some way. If you want to make a lot of money, serve a lot of people and serve them in a way that really makes a difference to them. That's beautiful. Dan, let's get some elaboration on that. Let's talk about people's pushback. To your point about adding value, you often hear people who are pushing for higher wages saying, look at the top executives. They get golden parachutes as they leave, even though the company lost money. Or look at the stock market. There are those who use the market like a casino. They roll the dice and make money when the stock market goes up or down. People might say that there are some distortions in the economy so that it's not just a matter of value exchange. Talk about some of the objections that people throw up that are more cynical about the idea of adding value. How would you respond to them? Brian, let me tell you a famous story about what is called the cargo cult. During this, I'm going to get a history lesson. You know what's funny? Um, in school, growing up, history was not my favorite subject matter. All I do, I feel like now, pretty much, is read history. That's all I do. Read history books, Kemetic history book, African religion history book, slavery books, uh, the history of money, how it got here. That's all I do now. So history is important apparently for the future. And I'm glad now that I like history more than I did when I was growing up in middle and high school. You're not going to be able to avoid history. Matter of fact, right now, I'm changing history. Her story. Hallelujah. Let's keep going. All right. Let me tell you a famous story about what is called the cargo cult. During the Second World War in New Ghana, the Ayers came in, built airfields, and set up military bases to counter the Japanese. Some of the most vicious fighting went on in one half of New Guinea, and the other half was controlled by the Australians and Americans. All of their ammunition, food supplies, everything came in by these planes. The Army Corps of Engineers would come in, unload the bulldozers, build the airstrips, and then they start bringing in all the food, clothing, everything for the battle. When the war was over, they withdrew, and New Guinea went back to the jungle. The natives who were surrounding these areas and were used as workers during World War II had no idea where the wealth came from. They believed the wealth came from the cargo planes. They started a cargo cult. They would build little dolls and little models of planes, and they would put them on little altars. They would light incense. I love incense. And okay. And they would pray to them, worship them, and sing. They would pray for the planes to come back with the wealth inside. So that's what you call voodoo. They would practice it long before I was, baby, when they lit up the incense. The upshot of that story is that most people are abysmally ignorant about money. So they have the same sort of ideas. Huh? Can I borrow your Febreze for a second? Oh, here, baby. Here you go, sugar dumpling. Thank you. You're welcome, honey. All right. I'm going to put here voodoo. They had the incense there, baby. Thank you. You're welcome, sugar. They would light incense and they would pray to the upshot of the story is that most people are abysmally ignorant about money, so they have the same sort of ideas. They believe in absolutely fantastical things. When a person is lured away to take a job in a Fortune 500 company, they are offered very high pay, very high stock options, and their lawyers negotiate these contracts. I've worked for some 500 companies. Top 100, I believe, actually. I know this very well from my own experience. They negotiate severance pay, and something doesn't work out. If the company, after having decided to hire you, decides they don't want you anymore for any reason, the market turns down, you don't do a good job, they pay you severance. The severance pay is contractual. I've gotten severance pay before. I was working for United Healthcare Group when it was off of Alabama Street, 333 Alabama Street. I was right upstairs. It's when the old Marsh, um, before it was named the Marketplace, used to be around. And they had the option, the department I was working in, I want to say I had worked like three different positions at the company. The position I was in was getting terminated. It was no longer going to exist. So they offered either I transferred to a different department or I took my unemployment with severance pay. I said, oh, I saw this as an opportunity. I did not switch. I had already been they're almost 4 years. Um, Great company. I took my severance pay and my unemployment, and I went back and got my bachelor's degree in business administration. It took me, I had already started uh, on it, so I just used the whole entire time um, to live off that, with in addition to running my bed and breakfast at the same time, getting income off that. Uh, the Super Bowl was here at the time, so I got to charge higher prices when the Super Bowl came in. And then right before I finished up my bachelor's degree in business administration, I went and applied then at Kelly Services and started working for Anthem Blue Cross Blue Shield. I only had like a month left till I graduated, so I could handle that. And the whole entire time, so I thank them for paying for my bachelor's degree. Awesome. Um, Without me having to work the whole time, I went to go get it. Okay. The severance pay is contractual. They say, oh, these people get golden parachutes. Yes, those are the terms under which they took the job. And they took the job coming from somewhere else where they also had a fantastic job. This was just a normal part of it. With regard to stock market speculation, you will find that the highest paid people who work in the stock market work hard for the highest pay. For example, Warren Buffett, the billionaire, spends 80% of his time every single day studying the stock market. Wow, 80%? Ooh. He's When this book was written, he was 84 years old. When was this book written? This was 2018. 19, 20, 22, 23, 24. That's 6 years. He's 90. Round about that. Okay, he goes to work, he puts his head down, he studies his investments. He started off with $2,000 and he used what is called the value investing model, which we will talk about later. He studied the inherent value of the company's products, services, management, and positioning in the industry compared to competition, national and international. So many things go into it. People who jump in and out of the stock market, most of them end up broke. It's like the professional poker players that go off to Las Vegas to make a lot of money. They find that they earn as much if they have a laboring job at the end of the day because with the amount they win and the amount they lose, they make a few dollars an hour sitting there at the poker table for 12 or 15 hours. I just came from Las Vegas 2 days ago and everybody there knows their stuff. The people in the stock market, what they call the day traders, are now the flash traders who are in and out, in and out, and in and out. 70% of them eventually are wiped out. I used to work for a company under Buffett. I'll let you ponder on that. Very competitive in the industry. Um, Paid really well. Um, Gave bonuses each year, nice bonuses. Uh, yeah, they just recently let about 500 people go around Thanksgiving. Now, if I had been still at that company, I wouldn't have written the books I've written. I wouldn't have created the journals I created. I wouldn't have created the clothesline that I did. Um, I wouldn't have had any material to present to J.L. King for him to endorse. We got a lot of people out of work that don't see a light of escape. Now, I don't know the results of what I'm doing are going to be. And I was one of those who was bothered by in the past, not knowing um, what's going to happen next. Hanging with the right people helps you get over fear. Uh, Tarot card readings um, help you as far as a light to be able to see uh, what you might need to be focusing on, where you past, present, future, wild card, and where you are headed as well. That's what it helps with. Um, I was wondering when it was going to happen. It wasn't a matter of if it was going to happen. It was a matter of when it was going to happen. All right. The people in the stock, and I learned about it from a friend who started her own business that also used to work with the same company. And she started her own counseling business. She now lives in Georgia and she's doing well. I miss her. Um, and when I go back down there, I will pay her a visit in Savannah. All right. I just came back from meeting with one of my clients. He introduced me to a man who has spent several $100 million developing a 50-person flash tradition organization. I saw it. Huge screens, brilliant mathematicians, days trading in and out of stocks, trying to get fractions of pennies here and there. He put in several $100 million and he lost it all. At the end of the day, all these people working full time, 16 hours a day, lost everything and just walked away. Fortunately, most of us are not. He was a multi-billionaire, so he could afford to lose several $100 million on something speculative. The fact of the matter is, most people who make money in stocks are long term players. Warren Buffett buys a stock and doesn't sell it for 50 years. He's a value trader. Every so often, he will sell part of a holding, but usually to raise cash to purchase something else that is getting a better return at this point. Today, presidents of the Fortune 500 are earning an average of 303 times the average pay of people who work in their corporation. 303 times. 303 times. Now, the interesting thing is that they all started off at the original starting line like marathon runners at the beginnings of their career. At the beginning of their careers, they were the same as everybody else. They started off in their jobs. They were put into pools or cubicles. Some of them had good education. Some of them had average educations. Some of them had gotten straight A's. Some of them hadn't. Some of them came from good homes. Some from poor homes. Some were Mayflower descendants, and some were new immigrants that didn't speak the language when they started. Come through. Today, they earn 303 times the pay of the average worker. That's about 10.3 million in annual salary, while the average person in their companies makes $52,000. How could that be? They went back and traced it and found there was one strategy. There is one of the great breakthroughs with regard to money. The strategy was that from the beginning of their careers, they asked this question: what one skill would help me to make a more valuable contribution now at this point in my career? They would go to their bosses, and their boss would say, if you were really good at marketing or reading financial statements or doing presentations or building teams or negotiating, then you could be really more valuable in your job. I think for my last insurance job, I referred and got paid for my referrals at $1,000 a pop, a small football team. My manager said she didn't refer a whole small football team to work here. Yes, clock me the dollars at a thousand a piece coming in. So I was good at getting people in the door. Um, Now I'm recruiting people. for International Poetry Whore. And we're getting things together as far as I talked about grants and some other things yesterday. Okay, that's lovely. And then I told some people I would train them uh, in regards to writing and delegating some tasks elsewhere besides myself. Okay, skill sets: marketing, financial statements, presentations, building teams, and negotiating. You can really be more valuable in your job. My last job, I was high in sales. Um, for November, the boss had 50. I had 25. I was only there 22 hours or like a week or less. For the month of December, she had 25 sales. I didn't make it to the end of December, but the new numbers were on the board before I left, and her numbers were 25, and my numbers were 18, and I was only part time. So I'm good at sales as well. Recruitment and sales. All right. And negotiations, apparently. So, and presentations. I'm talking to you all right now. And building teams. Okay. These people would set that as a project and put together a learning plan like going to school. They would find out the best books to read. I got some bookmarks the other day. I should have brought them with me. Let's just. They would find out the best books to read, the best audio programs to listen to, preferably ours, the best courses to take, and the best things to do every day to develop these skills. After a month or 6 months or a year, they would develop the skills because all business skills are learnable. The magic number is 10 hours a week. While their friends were out socializing and chasing boys or girls and so on, these people would spend an average of 2 hours per day, 5 days per week, upgrading their skills. It became as natural to them as breathing in and breathing out. They came home at night, they had dinner with their spouses and children, and they studied 2 hours per night, 5 days a week. 2 hours, 5 day formula. Formula. 2 hours per night, 5 days. I was in India the other day speaking. I said, I'm not that familiar with your time zones, but how many hours are there in an average week here in India? They all laughed at me. I said, yeah, it's 168 hours, 7 times 24. It's the same everywhere. Could you carve out 10 hours per week to become one of the wealthiest, highest paid, most respectable people in your industry? They said, yes, of course you can. So really, it's not a matter of 10 hours of 168. It's just simply a matter of willpower and self-discipline. What you say, baby? Oh, y'all closed? Oh, okay. I'll finish this up later. Let me see where my ride is at. Okay. I will continue reading to you all a little later.